This is a rant video, you angry bastards, so prepare for a lot of yelling of a very pissed off person. I almost always defend developers when talking about games as a whole and standing for them against the rising tide of greedy publishers and shareholders that are ruining gaming development by unrealistic deadlines over monetization, political inclusions and selling unrealistic hype. This time we have to tear RPG devs a new one. 3 games in a row playing RPGs with no fucking idea how to do inventory systems, but to annoy me to hell and back to the point that I have to went through this type of a video. Dragon's Dogma 2, No Rest for the Wicked, Eiyuden Chronicles. 3 games in a row. That can't be a coincidence. There is an epidemic of brain-dead ideas or lack of ideas lately, trying to offset lack of content quality with inventory and weight management bollocks in games that aren't even realistic or going for any sort of realism. But guess what? Suddenly realistic inventory in a fantasy game is important. It is if you have nothing else going for your game. Looking at you, Dragon's Dogma 2 and Eiyuden. No Rest for the Wicked has been fantastic for the first 7 hours that I played, outside of a few issues that I hope will get fixed over time, but even they can't seem to get a grip when it comes to inventory and weight management design. Let me take you through the horror so you know what I'm talking about. First, my beloved Dragon's Dogma 2, an overhyped mediocrity of a game that has some of the worst weight management I have ever seen. If you plan on playing it on consoles, don't. Buy it for PC and install no weight mod. Trust me on that. Fucking Bonobos designed the inventory system. It's a monkey. I've learned that word the other day on a pub quiz. Though I honestly think that even a bonobo by randomly pressing keys in C++ could create something better than this shit. If you don't have a good PC, wait until you get one and then buy the game. It's not worth the money at this moment anyway. How this game works is you go around, pick up 3 flowers, and God forbid if you're wearing heavier gear, you're already in heavy encumbrance territory. I wish I was joking. 10 potions and 3 flowers is what you're allowed to have unless you want to crawl to your next location. Stamina gets drained quicker the harder the encumbrance is, and there is a lot of walking in Dragon's Dogma 2, so the game slows the progression down by a significant amount. With the horribly implemented fast travel system, you'll be spending a lot of time dealing with weight management. Giving items to pawns every 5 seconds, taking items from pawns if there is need for it, going back to town to sell a couple things that would maybe get the weight down to average, and then going back out slowly into the wild until 3 more flowers are picked up, which means you're fucked again and need to crawl to progress or be forced to get back to town just so you can run on a huge map. It also affects stamina and combat, so the problem of encumbrance carries over to all aspects of the game. Thankfully, Dragon's Dogma 2 is so easy it is embarrassing, so you don't even need stamina. Then they introduce Golden Beetle, a collectible that increases weight by 0.15. Yes, 0.15. Weight of 1 leaf. I even read one comment that the Golden Beetle is a fantastic collectible, because it actually does something useful. Useful part is factually correct. However, Golden Beetle shouldn't even exist in a fucking fantasy RPG. To fix the problem, developers themselves have created and then introduced this horseshit called Golden Beetle that fixes nothing but even more annoys to how ineffective that bloody collectible is. So that I'm not only bitching and moaning, I will offer solutions for each game on how to improve. In Dragon's Dogma 2 the solution is simple. Remove item weight completely and have unlimited inventory. No annoyances that way and no downsides to this method. Soul might say that it would ruin the balance. Let's lie to each other for a second that there is any semblance of balance in Dragon's Dogma 2. Another fix that would need to be implemented and should have been in the original development are potion use animations during combat. Instead of opening inventory or using quick heals to instantly rejuvenate yourself, animations would add a strategic element that would increase the difficulty and would make all the potions in the world useless unless you can use them with proper timing. Aside from the inventory system, there would be an equipment that increases encumbrance, like in From Software games. Heavier gear would affect stamina drain, stamina regen, stamina action use and maybe some other stuff. Outside of combat, I would remove stamina use completely. What is the point of it, aside from time wasting that forces players to interact with other bad systems of the game? By having less useless shit to worry about, progression would be far more satisfying and faster because we would be rewarded with continuous acquisition of new items and equipment in longer bursts, without having to constantly deal with the weight issues. I'd rather play 30 hours to beat the game that doesn't waste my time than invest 50 hours to beat it with 20 hours being absolutely nothing but annoyance through dealing with time-wasting mechanics. quality per minute. Dragon's Dogma 2, unfortunately, by quality per minute measurement is one of the worst games ever made, but thankfully for it, that isn't the only measuring tool. Not only because of inventory, but many other things. Moving on to No Rest for the Wicked. No Rest for the Wicked is in early access, and many things will change before final release. From my brief time with it, it is potentially a much better game than the other two mentioned, but still employs weak designs that annoyed me already. In this game, collecting resources as we go is very important, because only heals available are through focus skills that are not frequent enough so that we could rely on it, and cooking food. Good meal needs 3 ingredients. I can't remember what the item limit was at the beginning, but I'm gonna guess 20 for each item category. That means equipment, consumables and materials. With the latest update, material limit has been increased to 25 because 20 was unbearable. Materials category includes things like different types of wood, ore and cooking ingredients that gets filled up very quickly because they are everywhere and we really need it. Not only to cook food but to upgrade HQ. Equipment limit is also filled up relatively quick, but not as quick as materials, that's for sure. So frequently there is a situation where resources and equipment need to be discarded or left in the world just so that we can get more stuff that might be a priority. Considering the importance of everything in this game, it is very unrewarding to leave stuff around. Thankfully enemies do not respawn upon traveling back to storage, but still it is something I have to do while at the same time don't want to, because my progression is stopped forcefully. Why, for fuck's sake? Solution is simple. Equipment encumbrance system is all well and good, and equipment worn should affect the gameplay, but what's with the inventory limit? What would be the downside of having unlimited space? No downside at all. We could pace and time our progress the way we want it to, by being continuously successful to amass a bunch of resources that is gonna help tremendously without affecting the balance, because using consumables in combat has an animation, unlike Dragon's Dogma 2, and with cooking and instant use materials being the only way to heal, there is no worry that it could make the game easier in any way. It just means we could have continuous healing capabilities due to our successful progress. Reward is not having to get back to town, but to continue playing as long as I can before death. Keep in mind though that the game just launched in early access, so we'll see if they decide to make the system better, because they should. It has far too much potential so that we don't have to deal with annoying and unnecessary systems in place. Eiyuden Chronicles. A fan service mediocrity that I will soon review has frustrating inventory and equipment management systems. The way their genius system works is by simply having an item limit. Problem is that everything counts towards the item limit. Equipment, consumables, runes and trading goods. That limit is 30 for a long period until HQ is upgraded and it gets filled up quickly. Even worse, items stack up to such low amount it is funny. Healing herbs stack is 6. Magic drops 2, revival medicine 2. What the fuck? I understand why there is a consumable limit, because it is tied to the area or dungeon progression. Too many consumables would lead to easier replenishment, which would lead to longer farming, which leads to faster leveling, which leads to easier game even with the XP gain reduction per level. However, there is no reason not to have consumable item limitation in that case, with loot being separate with unlimited space. That would fix the whole problem. Unfortunately, that is not the end of it. Resources gathered also have a limit of 15 at first, and they don't stack high either. So it is gonna fill up rather fast, but it is less of an issue. More problematic is the fact that we can't access storage except in HQ from what I've seen. Later fast travel is unlocked, which helps with this nuisance, but that frustrates me even more. Why in the hell isn't fast travel unlocked instantly upon acquiring the castle? Another annoyance is in HQ itself. There is an option to switch gear, which allows using stuff from storage. For some idiotic reason, only equipment that is on the current party members is displayed and can be exchanged, and not equipment from the rest of recruits that are in reserve in the castle, which is the whole goddamn reason why accessing switch gear options should exist. I can switch gear between current party members at HQ, but I can do that already anywhere, so that is a completely unnecessary and pointless option. Instead, I have to go to each recruit individually in the menu and check their gear, unequip it, which also means that our inventory is being filled with equipment that counts towards the item limit, just in case I switch party members later at the same point, because I want to keep everyone up to date level wise. Simple fix, have no fucking equipment limit but have consumable limit instead. Problem fixed. Took me 2 minutes to come up with it. I'm genuinely sick of games trying their best to waste my goddamn time in whatever capacity they can. Point of a fantasy world is to alleviate realistic problems to a degree. Quality of life stuff is called that because it helps, not because it hurts the game. Worst of all, there are people defending this shit. If I was a dictator, those people would be eliminated, to quote great Bill Burr. Joking of course, but you get what I mean. Developers are the ones creating problems with inventory and weight management and then add rewards in-game to make it more tolerable. That is basically admitting they got no quality ideas in that aspect. Instead of continuous meaningful progression, we are constantly interrupted and taken away from something we actually want to do, which is playing the damn game. If I want to chill in a game, then it needs to be when I decide to do so, and not be forced to do with every small progress to stop and deal with systems that offer nothing but take away from the experience. Anyway, I had to vent, but it is a valid goddamn rant if there ever was one.